downside. And the upside is that people get to tell their stories, and even if they decide to keep details to themselves, they can contrast these with other people's experiences because they actually get to hear other people's stories, and if they want to, discuss both of them. The downside is that in a group there's the added chance of embarrassment, there's the chance of revealing personal details, and because there's an audience there can be pressure to perform. The setting here is a camp for young people with their carers, with youth workers and elders. We do exciting stuff like circus and Indigenous dance and hip-hop and music, and the chance to do some possibly emotionally adventurous stuff. Now I'm going to probably stand on a chair in a moment so that you can see me. We've done things like this a little bit before. It requires a little bit of physical moving, but very little. So let me ask you to stand up. I use the rating scales in this group, which have been around forever, and they're such a useful strategy. And as with Alec, we actually start playfully before moving to something more serious, which also helps to avoid embarrassment because it gives people a chance to get to know how the questions are being asked. This wall represents totally love it. This wall represents can't stand it, okay? All right, so when it comes to rugby league, who's at the loving it end? Who's at the can't stand it end? Come on, boys, let me ask you to move. You're at the loving it end. Where are you, Rob? Do you like football? Union, rugby union.
Go the All Blacks.
Yeah, well. Brilliant. Where are you with AFL? Where are you with physical stuff? You know, doing physical stuff. Could not live without it. What the hell, you know? All right. Two other questions. Where are you with chocolate? Could not live without it. Not a problem. Could not live without the chocolate. One last question. Where are you in relation to tofu? Could not live without the tofu. Yes, I could very easily live without the tofu, I'm going to tell you. This is basically a physical conversation in action. The frame I'm using here is exactly the same one that I used with Daniel. The body, mind, heart and spirit. Although the words and the style are different. And again, the playful has taken us from the much less serious into now the much more serious. And because it is public, I encourage people to lie, which basically means it's a playful way of saying make a decision about what you keep to yourself and what you decide to make public. Okay, now look, lying is good. Lying is good, all right? Now I'm going to ask you some serious questions about you as a person, you as a human being. Now I want you to think about this stuff because this is who you are, and I want you to think about it over the next few days. Now, I don't know how you are travelling in life. I don't know if you're really well or not well. You know that. Now, if you decide to tell everybody by where you stand, that's okay. If you don't want everybody to know exactly what's going on in your life, you can stand somewhere else on this line. When it comes to whether you love football or not, it really doesn't matter whether people know. But some things you might want to keep to yourself. So I'm going to ask you about your body, because that's part of you to start with, your body. That's not all of you at all, but it's part of you. So again, you stand on this line, letting everybody know where you're standing. If you don't want everybody to know exactly what's going on with your body, then you can stand somewhere else as long as you know. That's the only thing that matters. That wall represents you're a gold medal Olympic athlete. This wall represents, in terms of fitness, you're a bit of a couch potato, really. You're a bit of a slob, let's face it. Your couch potatoes are over there. That's okay. Let me ask you a second question. And this is about your health. And again, you can tell us the truth or you can stand wherever you want. Your health is, this wall represents, you're probably going to live forever and they'll leave your body to science. Over here, not good. Not good. Health. So this is health. Now, let's think about how your brain's working at the moment. This end represents, it's a computer program, everything's organised, your thinking is just, you know, logical, sequential, makes perfect sense. Over there, basically, your thinking's just a dog's breakfast, right? So, okay, your brain, your head, totally organised, bit of a mess. Okay, your heart. This is your emotional stuff. So again, look after yourself. You know, see what you really feel at the moment. So this then represents your heart is whole in the way that it needs to be. Over there, emotionally, you're a bit wobbly at the moment. I've got one final question for you, then I'm going to ask you to have a bit of a chat and be useful to each other. Be loving and useful to each other. This is the last one. This is my playful way of asking this question. This is asking about your spirit. Now, spirit can mean anything at all to you. You know, it's a very open word. But this wall represents you're a totally balanced, rounded person, you know, like the perfect Buddhist in a sense, over that wall. Over here, you're wandering and lost a little bit spiritually at the moment. So that wall is, there you are, you're this grounded, centred, focused human being. And over there, need a bit of wandering going on. What I'd like you to do is have a conversation with the person next to you. There might be threesome somewhere. I want you to have a conversation with another human being and together talk through how you can start to move more in the direction that you want to be with your body, your heart, your mind and your spirit. Is that clear what I'm asking you to do? Okay? Grab a piece of floor, have a chat for a few minutes and then I'll hear from you. And if there's a threesome somewhere, just find a threesome. There's a man right there if you want to have a chat with that.
That's kind of a lot easier than the step of going right.
The large group conversation develops from a kind of playful physical movement to a more serious physical movement and then into the opportunity for a chat in smaller groups about the responses. Let me ask you to wind up your conversations and focus back in. I think all conversations just go through steps and stages, and I want to try and make sure that I'm attending to each person as we go with their different needs and their different styles. So in the conversation that you're seeing here, there are actually 4 parts to it. There's the physical responses to questions using the rating scales. There's a chance for people to think about their responses as the group proceeds, and then there's a chance to discuss in groups of 2 or 3, and then, if people want to discuss things in the large group. What I'd like to do just for a moment is just to see if there's anything that you would like to let the group know. You had a conversation with another person. Is there anything that you would like to say to the large group in terms of your conversation? If you had a really deep and personal conversation, you don't need to say, hey, guess what? Guess what about Vanessa? All this stuff that you didn't... We don't have to tell everybody all that private stuff, but if the stuff that you from the conversation that you think would be good for us to hear, please, yeah.
Like we were talking about health and saying that I could go out and exercise, but my lifestyle doesn't suit that at all, and I don't think I'd want it to. Like, even though I'd love to be healthy, I'd just like a fix that would do it for me instead of having to change my lifestyle to become healthy.
Where would you say that you are with, I mean, I've given us 4 words, I could have given us 10 other words. Where would you say you are with your creative side of your life?
Pretty good.
Yeah. I would have thought, I expected you to say that.
Yeah.
What is it that keeps you going there? Because every time I've seen you, you're doing stuff and you're excited and you're rapping.
Yeah,
and
well, it's that feeling that you're seeing there when I'm going and I'm like, yes, this is awesome. That's what keeps me doing it.
Well, maybe you're perfectly okay.
Yeah, I haven't got a problem with myself.
The very big part of you that I see that needs nurturing and looking after, it seems to me that you're doing that. If I suddenly took that music out of your life, you'd be devastated. So, you're doing all right? That's all right. It's good to know that. You know you're in the place that you need to be. That's good. Then you protect it and you look after it.
That is the only thing that keeps me going every single day, because I am very emotionally unstable at the moment, but it is my spirit and my will that gets me up every day and gets me to keep going. So yeah, you can be emotionally unstable and also have a really strong spirit, because that's one thing that does keep me going in my life at the moment. So yeah.
as with an individual, so too with a group. And as the end approaches of the group, it's good for people to know that they can continue with what has come up. The conversation can continue. I don't know what came up for you in your conversations, and I was the one who raised the questions for you to think about. And if stuff came up for you that matters to you, that's it's emotional or disturbing, that means it matters. That's a good thing. You know, you can do something with that yourself, or you can chat with me or somebody else about that.